Correct. The stigma around these medicines um, is moving out. However, the awareness around it is what's coming forward. And also, what you said about doing our work with therapists or coaches, um, the integration piece is huge. I've had people microdose come to me and nothing, well, it's not working.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of the Spiritual Inspired Show. I am your host, Claudiu Murgan. For previous episodes, please visit spiritualinspired.ca, gnostictv.com, and our YouTube channel. And also lately, for any books you want to purchase, visit soulawakeningstore.com. My guest today and expert is Lynda Samphire. Lynda, thank you for accepting my invitation.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. What an honor to be in this space with you. Thank you.
You are a powerhouse when it comes to microdosing, and I think in the spiritual community, everyone remembers the Terence and Dennis McKenna La Chora experiment back in 1971 in Colombia. How did you stumble upon Amanita muscaria?
Ah, what a beautiful question. Not by searching. I was not searching. She came to me. I began microdosing with psilocybin, and I was working very closely with a medicine woman. And one day, because these medicines find us, I got a doormat with an amanita, the red and white mushroom on it. And then all of a sudden, someone gave me a gift. And then my medicine woman's calling me saying, we need to work with this. And so about 4 years ago, I started working with Amanita muscaria and has now become one of the most profound allies in my own healing and my clients.
Yes, and in fact, I recently had a discussion with a dear friend, and he experimented with a new type of mushroom, and he told me that he went places and he has experience with this type of sacred plant medicine. I mean, we sat together in several ayahuasca ceremonies, and he's connected, and he was quite impressed with new strand of mushroom, and he said this is the future, this will heal people big time.
Beautiful. Amazing. And what I'm finding is I agree with everything you just said. It is our future. We are in this space where we're fast paced, we're do, we're digitally consumed, and we need to slow down. And these mushrooms come in and they bring in simplicity, they slow us down, and they connect us to ourselves. We quit outsourcing our truth and we come inwards. With Amanita, she works with our nervous system. And I have been finding that the body's asking right now to be heard first. And she works with our nervous system, restoring the body. Then we go into these larger experiences and do our work, and then things land because we don't have the gripping of the nervous system.
Yes, and we have to understand and understand the fact that the mushrooms are older than us, much older than us on this earth. And then there are two options, in my humble opinion, on how we can approach this subject and making it much more mainstream. One is through psychologists, because they work with trauma. And I had many guests on this podcast who are aware of microdosing, and they are testing and are encouraging their clients to try it. And secondly, to remove this idea that this is a drug and is addictive, like the pharma industry is trying to tell us about anything else that cannot be patented.
Correct. The stigma around these medicines um, is moving out. However, the awareness around it is what's coming forward. And also, what you said about doing our work with therapists or coaches, um, the integration piece is huge. I've had people microdose come to me and nothing, well, it's not working, but they didn't have that container where you have the witness and someone to walk beside you. And then what happens when we're microdosing psilocybin? These emotions emerge. What are we doing with them? And that's the integration, not telling you what to do, however, guiding and mentoring through the process. And we're seeing way more results with the integration alongside.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Lynda, I know that you had a tragic event at the age of 2 when you lost your mother. In
Yeah.
time, have the um, microdosing or the sacred plant medicine been able to put you in contact with your mother and regain that type of lost connection?
Ah, yes, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I lost my mother when I was 2, and unbeknownst to me, I was harboring a lot of grief inside because when you're 2, you're not, what do I do with this? Is not really the question. So it created this space of functioning anxiety for me, where I was actually moving through the world, making my choices based on this and not even knowing that this is what I was experiencing. It wasn't until I moved into the medicines that I was like, oh, that's what's been going on. Once that was soothed, the nervous system came back in. I worked with the wounds. Then I work heavily in the dream world, and prior to that, I had visits from my mother, and then I started having more visits, and then it was a grounding around me trust in myself and just being able to just have this communication with her with the divine, with higher consciousness that came through me. So it was a connection that came back once I went inward and felt safe in my body and trusted.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and
Mm-hmm.
also a concept that it's haunting all of us these days because of the times we are living in is death, and we still have a deep fear of death, not understanding that death is just a new beginning. And how do you deal with those who have this fear? And also, do you think that we honor the death or those who are departing? With really deep understanding of what's going on, or we are just marking a custom because the church or the dogma is telling us to do so.
Yeah, the conditioned state that we're in. And I did a writing on death back a few months ago because it's always been a curiosity of mine with losing my mother. And I look at death as it's a continuum. Here's this liminal space we come into, birth and then death. And we live these experiences in between. I feel you are correct. The way we view death is more feared and what's beyond. And I look at it completely differently that we're just moving into another dimension and then we're coming back through again. And so we're infinite beings as a soul. So it never ends. There's no ending. It's just a different form. So my writing that I worked with was working with our dreams and coming very comfortable with death, working with these medicines in a place where we might have experiences when we're doing large journeys with ayahuasca, with 5-MeO, with the mushrooms that take us to this place of expansion and oneness. And we kind of just get it. We may not be able to explain it, but it just resonates and it's this inner knowing that moving through we're safe. I really feel that death is the celebration and should be really, really celebrated, where birth is like, oh, what just happened and where am I now? And then all these experiences start happening. So my experience has been that, and what I've experienced, and I've had some pretty phenomenal experiences, is that we're really held in a space of pure love when we move through.
Yeah, so we are born, and the life is so short that we don't have the time to realize who we really are. And then we go back into the infinity of who we are, and we have more time to assess, are we going back or not? So that's the fun part, I think, especially when you're on the other side. And you mentioned a key word when you use or someone uses the medicine is expansion. And there are a lot of testimonials from PTSD people that they use this type of microdosing, and they gave up medication, or after 3 or 4 years of psychotherapy, they didn't need that anymore. So again, those listening have to understand that these medicines are exactly what you said, the appropriate way to expand our consciousness, remove any potential blocks in a much faster way, instead of spending years in a different type of uh, procedure, medical procedure. You can eliminate it much, much faster and reach your potential.
That's, you just explained what happened to me perfectly. Yeah. So moving into the medicines, I went into it with, okay, I just want to connect with my highest power. It's going to be great. And then, I went down the hole into all my stuff. It moved it fast. It's uncomfortable because there's a lot of resistance in there, and there's a lot of attachment to what we feel is going to happen when we start taking these medicines, and what healing is like, and what it means to connect with divine wisdom and expand our consciousness. Our nervous system needs to be soothed before our body's going to allow that to happen. And these medicines, yes, move us through, especially Amanita muscaria on that microdosing, a very feminine dose, soothes the nervous system, and then we feel trust, and then divine wisdom flows through us. Rather than us leaving our bodies, we need to feel very safe and a beautiful home to come home to, because we're here to have a human experience. So we kind of need to be in the body to have these experiences. However, when our consciousness expands, we're looking at it differently, because we're not kind of operating by outdated imprints.
Yes, and this expansion involves, as you mentioned, the not only our consciousness, but the body and the nervous system. And the nervous system has to be adjusted to take in more energy, more electricity. And honestly, I am working right now on my own body through various exercises to expand that capacity. And I recently listened to Robert Edward Grant, who was in Egypt in May, and he had an experience where he said that he asked, in fact, the intelligence, and he said 1,000,000 volts went through your body, and the regular person couldn't take that energy, would have been burnt out. But you were ready, you were prepared, your nervous system was ready to take this download. So that's why, if we really want to work seriously about increased consciousness, we also have to work on our body to be able to receive the downloads.
Yeah, beautifully said. I love that. Our nervous system is so, in the conditioned state, it is so programmed to just grip. And I see people showing up to ceremony, somatic work, doing all journaling, doing everything that they're to do, but it's not holding. It's not sustainable because that nervous system is gripping. When I begin with my clients, especially nowadays, like it's pretty frenetic, the world. Amanita comes in and works with the central nervous system. So we're GABA and glutamates, kind of the boring transmitters, but it's the on and off system of the brain. Soothes it down. We begin sleeping, which I think is our number one medicine. We begin feeling this lightness and being held, like our soul's being supported. Because when the central nervous system is soothed, it's the vagus nerve can drive. We're in parasympathetic. We are endocrine systems coming in, the pineal glands waking up, and we're making room then for these emotions and this resistance to start moving without it continually gripping.
And we know that these plants are very intelligent and they give us what we need. But I'll give you I'll share with you a personal example. So I was in the middle of this ceremony, mushroom ceremony, and the feeling was that Mother Ayahuasca just took over, and we continue a discussion from a previous ceremony. Did that happen to you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I had large experiences with 5-MeO.
Oh,
and then went into a mushroom. Like that was the medicine I actually began with on my large journeys. And then I went into psilocybin journey. And yes, it was like I was back in the 5-MeO journey. Um, I have an experience coming up at a retreat in October, and I've already dreamt that I'm back in with 5-MeO, and I'm dreamt that I'm in the 5-MeO journey again. So it's constantly working through us. I don't really microdose anymore. I don't use the medicines on a consistent basis, but it feels like I am. So I can go into a meditation, and those mushrooms, you can feel them in there working. So, yes, highly intelligent spiritual beings asking us to connect back to ourselves, and they connect with us. And it's not just while you're taking them, it's a forever
yes,
connection with
beautiful.
them. Yeah.
And how do you feel the difference between Bufo and psilocybin or anything else you've been taking?
Oh, yes. Bufo is very quick, very powerful. I have had experiences in the presence of angels, in the presence of beings. I began speaking light language randomly one day in my kitchen after sneezing 3 times. My gifts came through. It was very powerful. However, very dysregulating if we're not ready for it. Like I feel like it's something to work up to, and make sure we have our tools in place and a really, really good container. So it's powerful. It's very fast, but feels like a lifetime, primal lifetimes. And maybe my experience was 9 minutes. Mushrooms
You,
are like 7 hours.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. And Mother Aya even longer. I mean, could be the
Yes.
same, yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned light language. Have you identified what type of light language do you speak?
I have many different beings coming through. A lot of it is angelic. When I first spoke it, it was very crazy. I just was like, I sneezed 3 times in my kitchen, and all of a sudden it just started coming out. And this was after a medicine experience, a few days after. And it was so fairy like. It was like I had been caged up and it was free, and it was just joyful. And even speaking about it, I get chills. Since then, it's integrated more, and I get different beings coming through. I look at my own channeling with a council of 7, and there's galactic, angelic, Pinobly, and an elder. So that's, I feel what's coming through me.
Nice. I
Yeah.
was told that I speak Beta Centauri, which is very
Yes.
odd for a man to speak because it's a feminine light language. So I said, okay, I'm
That's
good with
fine.
that. Yeah. So
Well, we all have our feminine side, right? So it's probably a balance for you that's really, really good and rare. You're right for the masculine.
yes, I enjoy it. I have an idea right now how I can integrate that with music potentially, just for fun. I create every day, so I love to see how that will come out.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I speak it with music in the background, rattles and drums, and each every day I'm speaking it just to really balance my own nervous system. So that's kind of become my medicine now.
Yeah, we have to practice it for sure. I was
Yeah.
also told that you need to practice it.
I microdose light language, if that makes sense.
Linda, you also did something else which is very interesting. You train with African shaman in the Sangoma tradition. How did you do that? It's not usual for a Westerner. I know of Tricia Ismin who did the Iboga in Gabon, and maybe a handful of people, men and women. But how did you come across this?
I did an African bone reading. Have you ever had one of those done? Yeah, I had a couple of them done. And this came up for me with my ancestral, African bone. We're really looking at the ancestral wisdom. And so that came forward, and that's how I researched out. And the woman who gave me the African bone reading studied with melanomasoma, and who has since passed. And so I reached out to a gentleman and worked with dreams, ancestral work last summer. And so that's how I came. It it found me. I was
In
led,
fact,
yeah.
I had a reading with Malidona
Oh,
maybe
did you?
4 years ago.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we didn't meet in person, but over Zoom. I wanted to interview him, but I think his elders or ancestors didn't allow him to do that.
Mm.
But I read his books and I was in awe with everything they can do over there. And they are not the savages we think they are.
No,
They are amazing people and they know how to play with energy.
most definitely. And he really taught me how to work in my dreams with ancestral work. And in the African tribes, especially Kosa, if you're not remembering your dreams, you're sick. And so you sit with elders until your dreams come back and they watch you, and then you go about your life. However, because if you're sick, your whole tribe is sick. So it's important to heal ourselves. Yeah.
Yes. I also know that you play with or are you have spirit animals around you. What spirit
Mhm.
animals do you work with?
The bear and two wolves.
Interesting.
Yes. The bear
um,
came through in my ancestral work.
yeah, I used to walk with cheetah, wolf, and bear.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, they are lovely.
I call them in every night before I go to sleep.
And then I transition into an eagle at the top, and we fly together and watch the wolf, the cheetah, and the bear from the top,
Oh, I
from
love
the
that.
air.
Yeah, I love that. My husband works very closely with eagles.
And do you use this type of approach and healing in your sessions as well?
I bring it in more to my dream series and my dream work and Amanita, and really connecting with the spirit animal, our own guides, and divine wisdom. So that's where I work with it more. I think it's a great opening for people rather than trying during the day, going into the dreams and allowing those to come through naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lynda, you describe facilitating portals into liminal spaces. Can you guide us through a typical moment at breakthrough you witnessed during a session?
Um, yeah. So when we're going into our liminal space, first of all, we have pockets of them throughout the day. So it might just be I'm walking to a different room. We're in a liminal space and it's just time to come back. When working in a session, bringing light language into it, bringing meditation, we're moving into a space that is a liminal space where theory of relativity came through, where the light bulb was invented, and it's the hypnagogic and the hypnopompic state. And it's where we move into a place where the conscious and the subconscious meet in the doorway, and both of them come together. Where the rational mind is out, we can see visions, we can hear voices, we can have these huge creative downloads. On the back side of it is the hypnopompic. This one more works with sleep because we're coming out of our sleep, we're having downloads. So I'm working and training people to work in these two areas. We're going to, first of all, soothe our nervous system. We're going to connect with our own divine wisdom, and it is a practice. So moving through these states, I have meditations and walkthroughs, and I've had people even before we start working saying, oh wait, I do hear music or I do see visions, I never knew what that was. So we're all doing it. So it's a matter of tapping into it, and I like to tap into it, having people take naps, 20-minute naps. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
And
And
how does this work ties into the dream series offering? Is this a program you offer all the time?
I offer it every season. So in the spring, we just finished the spring one up, so we're planting. Summer series is coming up in July, and we're going to really nourish what's growing within us, and then fall would be harvesting. So we're moving into we're working with the liminal spaces, we are working side by side with Amanita muscaria because she's so beautiful for microdosing and sleep. People say they haven't slept in months and they're finally sleeping again. And then what's happening is we're hitting REM and we're having more dreams. And then we begin working with our dreams and what our soul's speaking to us. It was Carl Jung. The two pathways to the soul are dreams and imagination. So we begin working with what's coming through in the dreams. And it was interesting on this last one, I dream a lot more when I'm teaching. My father recently passed and he came through into my dream. And in my dream, I had a cell phone and it was this really white screen. And it's this white I remember seeing in medicine journeys. It's an undescribable white, and he was sitting over there on a phone and it came through hi. And it was just so simple, but so beautiful. So looking at our sleep in a different way as a place to expand our intuition, soothe the nervous system, work with the stuff that's ready to come up, and then integrating that through the day and having Amanita muscaria soothe our nervous system while we do this. And so I use her alongside that. And we notice when people start microdosing that dreams expand. It's the body waking up, it's the remembering. So it's not something we learn, it's something we remember.
Yes, this is what should be our daily mantra. Remember who you are. It's much more important than maybe anything else, but one of
That's
them, let's say.
yeah. I mean, that's what these medicines bring. They bring forward a remembering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
not a
Lynda, based on your experience and the those who are attending these sessions, what's the percentage of those who come to heal and those to come to increase their consciousness? It's another type of healing, but healing the body first and then the metaphysical.
um it's funny when I first started I've been in the healing arts for over 20 years and I started with past life regressions. And so it was very metaphysical coming forward. Recently, I'd say in the last 2 years, it's nervous system support, it's stress, it's feeling frenetic and ungrounded. So we're moving into that, and that automatically then brings into the metaphysical and the consciousness. So I would say when I started, it was probably 90%. And now we're looking at the healing of within and not outsourcing our truth, more like around 80%.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And do you see this trend continuing based on the world events? How do you see the world moving forward?
It's so funny. I had I'm a channeler, and I'll share with you a download that came through really powerful. I don't know what this means or how it looks. One, we're going to start going inward. We're going to start taking back our own power. The download that came through was that as we move into the future, the way we make money is going to change. It's going to shift. It's not going to be the do, work hard. It's going to become more easier. In fact, it's not even going to be a focus, and that's going to soothe some of this worry. And how we create our monetary abundance is going to move into a sector that we're not, we wouldn't see it now, but it will just unfold. We then will keep human connection, which then showed me a vision I had in my very first mushroom journey, which was people holding hands, working with food, and food will become our connection with one another. And we were sharing. It was beautiful. It brought tears to my eyes because of the love. And we came more into the space of working together rather than individually. So that the date that was shown to me where this might begin to start to come forward is 2028, and this just came through a couple weeks ago. So as we move forward, I feel these medicines are coming. I mean, they're coming forward so strong right now, and it's about taking back our own power, our own sovereignty, walking on the edge of our own trust and power. And then we're coming into a place where we have so much love, it's coming together. And then our connection will be in a communal space, food, and sharing.
And it is your intention to create such a community where you are with like-minded people?
Most definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Most definitely. Bringing people together. Because once we're aligned, once we're connected to the divine, we're not worrying. Things just happen. And we have so much more to give out rather than holding inwards and judging. We're walking side by side people, humans, and having the human experience. Not that we won't have our challenges. However, we'll have this community around us that is more supportive because we're grounded, we're aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other programs would you like to reference here for those who are interested to hear more?
So I have a dream series coming up with Amanita. I have a two programs. One's a 3-month one for expanded consciousness with working with both the mushrooms, Amanita and then psilocybin. I have one that's just Amanita. It's a quick light support. And then recently started holding retreats. And I have a fall retreat coming up, psilocybin ceremonial in the Pacific Northwest, and also a microdosing group series starting with both the medicines, beginning with Amanita and then moving into psilocybin. All that's on my website. So there's different, whether you want one-on-one container group support or you're looking to move into a larger experience. I like people. These medicines are relational. I like them to develop a relationship with the medicines first. I also have a really big program called Ascension, and that works with microdosing 5-MeO on a very, very light. And I say microdosing very lightly because it's a little bit more. However, we're able to work on our own. For this one, I like people to already have tools, spiritual tools in space. Um, and being able to how to navigate their own uncomfortability and also have a relationship with at least mushrooms of some sort and medicines. So
Yes, and thank you for sharing. At the beginning of this discussion, we mentioned that the medicines should be made more visible to the public. And I just remember that recently I watched Nine Perfect Strangers on Netflix. It's a
yeah.
two-part series, and it's very interesting how they work with mushrooms, and that in fact they put that out there for people to see it.
That's a little more than microdosing. When we're microdosing, we're not feeling altered. Yeah. Yeah, but yes, it's funny how all these, interesting how these shows are coming forward. But yeah, that one's a little beyond microdosing and the experience. It's Hollywood, right?
Yes, and
Yes.
they have a well-known actress, Nicole Kidman,
Yes.
and they address trauma. And what I found very interesting is the way the web that connects the strangers, and in the end, they heal each other, and they heal the relationship that they have with each other, which is unknown relationship. But in the end, they come to that conclusion that wow, we are connected.
Oh, so much. And that reminds me of my dream series where instead of excavating our dreams and starting trying to figure them out, we're letting each person's dream run through us and we each have the experience and can offer our healing through our own experiences, bringing in that oneness because we all are one and we're very, very separated right now. So yeah, I appreciate that part of Nine Perfect Strangers. I'm caught up on it right now. I'm waiting for the next one to come out. So
Yes, and are you planning, because we are talking about dreams and your dreams are vivid and amazing, are you planning to put everything together in a book format?
I am, yes, I would like to put something together with Amanita and dreams and healing and nervous system. I am working on that at the moment. So, and
Nice.
I have lots of plans for something. Yes, as we move forward in this world.
Yeah, it's an amazing field. And one of my first guests were Dennis McKenna. and he shared many stories with us. And he was one of the pioneers with his brother, as I mentioned before, in this field. And he built his career studying botany. So yeah, it's unlimited potential.
Well, and it's interesting because, I had a practice prior to medicine, and it wasn't till I brought the medicine in to my practice that I felt that missing piece to the puzzle come in. And then my clients started having healing, moving quicker, coming in alignment, having experiences. Some of them would do large journeys, some of them would just continue the microdosing. And it's a beautiful space to bring into what you're already offering. And I think it's going to also help therapists and coaches not feel so burnt out, because
Yeah,
the
and
medicines are our allies too. Yeah.
yeah. And in my opinion, again, I'm not a specialist in the field, but I will keep this type of practice small, um, private, not having the pharma industry getting their hands on the industry, because otherwise they can dilute it, they can change it in any way, and they can even apply this type of medicine in such a way that it'll create a bad repo, and then everything will be destroyed.
Pharmaceutical, yep, they're good at that, aren't they? The beautiful about Amanita is you can't replicate her. You can't grow her and you can't replicate her. She has a beautiful relationship with the forest, mycorrhizal, and it's a fungi root system with the trees. They're exchange minerals and water. And so we can't grow her and we can't replicate her, can't synthesize her. So she's the elder and said to be the gatekeeper of all mushrooms. So it's interesting. She's coming forward now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Lynda, if you have the chance to give humanity another gift other than what you're offering right now, what would that gift be?
That's a lovely question. The gift would be peace, trust within, trusting ourselves, and coming into our own power and knowing what that means, connecting with the heart, because that's where everything is. So just that remembering.
Yes, beautiful. And
Mm-hmm.
what is your perception of God?
Mm, that's a fun one, isn't it? Yeah. My perception of God is not just one being, it's nature, it's us, it's everything. And we are, um, I had a vision of it once. And it's my perspective, obviously, but it was like this huge, I want to say jellyfish, if we want to, just humongous. And all these dips of lights were coming through it, coming off of it, coming into this dimension. So those are us. So we're all from this huge, huge source of energy and love. And the love is so pure and so powerful that we cannot contain it within ourselves and our human body, all of it. So we're given these pieces of it, the trees, the bugs, everything around us. And we are so one that we are each other's mirrors. And so to come to this place where we can see God within everything, source, divine, that's what I feel. Yeah.
Mm.
Regardless of the religion and what resonates with people to follow.
Yeah, I don't think we need a religion per se, a dogma, just faith that God exists everywhere, surrounding us, within us, and that will bring peace and love in the world, and that's it.
Yeah, well said. I completely agree with that. And it really is just here. And I think we get this perspective that our bodies are just so small, but really it's the energetic energy within them. We're all energetic beings, right? And that movement of the energy. I remember one night I woke up with my body just completely vibrating, and they said, "Now we're going to show you the vibration of love." And my body just started, it was vibrating and it just was so overwhelming. I was like, I mean, it felt good, but the body was so overwhelmed. And it was a beautiful perspective of what we have the ability to tap into and what we are already without the imprints, without the conditioning. And I feel we're coming out of that. And that's why these mushrooms, these medicines are coming to us now to help us actually feel that again.
Yes, and because you mentioned conditioning and imprints, and there is a lot of talk about transhumanism and we being hackable animals. What would you say to those who are enticed to change their bodies or have implants in their bodies and they are perfectly healthy?
Hmm. Yeah, I hate to judge that either way, only because we're always going to have these experiences. So if that's the experience and that's what it's bringing you to, then I don't want to say that's a wrong thing to do. However, there is this place when we do this healing that that might be what we want. But then all of a sudden, when we come into this where we're in love with ourselves in not a narcissistic way, but a very aligned, divine way, then all of a sudden that kind of doesn't become the importance anymore because we're not outsourcing our truth. So if we're doing this, are we outsourcing our truth and we're not coming here? And so it's just looking at it with a different perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lynda, we are coming towards the end of this lovely discussion. Any final words?
You know, I feel like we are moving into this space more than ever where it's so important to become aligned with who we really are. Because each moment, each single moment in our lives is a threshold, and we need to start honoring that. We are not to be fixed. Nobody needs to be fixed. It's just to remember, and that presence and not performance becomes our own leadership within. So the path to feeling aligned is here. And that's what I feel is important as we go forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Uh,
all the work you are doing in the world and
Thank you too.
bringing the best within us,
Thank you. This
bringing
is
up. Yeah.
such a fun conversation. Yeah. Thank you for what you do too.
Thank
And
you. Much
your
love.
voice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm.
And to my viewers, thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Visit the websites I mentioned initially. And until next time, love and gratitude.